Alright, so we're going to start off with our engine analysis. We're going to go through some basic definitions real quick. Here's the additives. You can look that up. Look at contaminants. Look at wear metals. Physical properties. I want you guys to see us thoroughly. Stop and start as you go. Sorry for my finger. Look at it in detail. And then you can continue with the video as we go. So, I blacked out personal information. Another thing we're going to look at is TBN, which means property that measures oil's ability to neutralize acids during engine operation. Higher TBN equals more acid neutralized and longer oil life and protection against corrosion. Look that up. Google it. You'll see an official website talking about TBN and its properties. Because I tried to see it here on the on this sheet, but I didn't find the definition of TBN on it. So now this is GP. Again, I do really general, vague wording when I send out my oil reports to the labs. So this is GP. This is high performance. I did specify high performance, but didn't specify if it's fully synthetic or mineral or whatever. Then we have Amsoil over here. You can see Amsoil 10W40. I didn't specify if it's synthetic or metric. That we all have in our previous video where I specified that these are the oils I'll be sending out. So I'm going to go here and we're going to start comparing the two Yamalubes. We're going to compare the Yamalube racing spec versus the Yamalube high performance full synthetic. So I'm going to try to put these two as closely together as possible so we can see and compare on the spot. And then who's ever the best of these two, compare it to Amsoil and see who's going to be the winner for my engine. So as we can see here, we got the dates that which they were sent. Now we're going to go through the gritty details. So as we can see here, we have Molly B denim. GP racing spec only had 1 part per million versus high performance full synthetic had nothing. We go down. Potassium, which is a contaminant, antifreeze additive in some oil types. So it might be an additive, and they call it antifreeze too. You can see it here. Potassium is a contaminant, antifreeze, or it could be used as an additive in some oils. So it might be good or whatever. So potassium only have 1 part per million on the GP racing spec and 0 for the full synthetic high performance oil. Next would be boron. Boron is an additive. It's a detergent dispersant additive, antifreeze inhibitors. So it's a good thing for the engine. GP spec has 32 parts per million. High performance full synthetic has 31. When we go down, silicone 5 and 5. That is called a contaminant or an oil additive. So we can see here silicone, airborne dirt escaping from filtration, sealers, gaskets, and casting parts. Spray lubricants, antifreeze inhibitor, or oil additive. So might be considered an additive. 5 and 5. We got sodium, which is another quote-unquote contaminant. Now we're going to the good stuff. Calcium, which is an additive, and they call calcium a detergent dispersant additive. So calcium for the GP racing spec, they have 1832 parts per million versus the high performance full synthetic 1798, so they're pretty close. Magnesium, which is another additive, detergent dispersant 7 and 9, so they're pretty close. We got phosphorus, which is another additive, but this is a little different. This is called a anti-wear additive. So for phosphorus, we have 840 and 817. So GP spec is slightly a little better, but again, it's pretty close. And for zinc, 925, 933. And zinc is another anti-wear additive. So as for GP spec and high performance, they're pretty close in additive packages. There was a video talking about GP spec on YouTube that they're ester-based oil, so maybe the additive package doesn't matter too much in this case because it's an ester base, but I'll be sincere, when I put this oil in my Yamaha, I did a video the other days putting the oil in, I did feel a difference, shifting quality and the oil response, the engine response, felt a lot more slicker, responsive, it felt a lot more different on the engine. Something only you can explain once you do the oil change yourself or feel it for yourself. So these are the additives. Now we're going to go down. We're going to see viscosity at 210 Fahrenheit. So GP spec does a 72.5, while high performance is at 74.1. So they're both sort of heading each other on. So at 100 degrees Celsius, one's at 1361 versus the other, which is at 1403. There we go. The other one's at 1403. They're both in range. Temperature, there's a bit more of a difference here. GP specs withholds only it can only handle 10 degrees more than high performance. C445, it's its flash point versus 455. And as for the TBN, which we already defined, this one has a 5.7 versus a 5.6, so they're pretty close as a TBN rating. So that's really good stuff. And again, just to summarize up, what TBN is its ability to actually neutralize acids and have a longer life and protection against corrosion. So they're at 5. So now we're going to take the best of these two, even though they do have different functions. This is only for a couple days for racing, and this is for, I guess, a couple more miles. Would have to look up how many more miles they specify, but we're going to take GP because it did go a little higher on the parts per million, and we're going to compare it to Amsoil. Put it right here, right next to each other, square them up as close as possible. Right there should be pretty good. So again, these are all virgin samples, 10W40. Now we're going to do Amsoil and GP spec. So, again, the date's taken. We're just going to go directly to the additive package. That's what I really care about. They're always going to have some type of metal or something, just a small little particle, parts per million. They both have 1 and 1, so it's just small talk. But this is where the good stuff comes in. Molybdenum, 76 parts per million versus 1. Molybdenum is an anti-wear additive, and as you can see, you got at least 76 versus almost nothing, or 1. Let me make sure I can focus on my camera. There we go. Next additive, going down. Jump to potassium, nothing. I just care about the boron. Boron 240. Again, we already said that boron is a dispersant, detergent, additive, antifreeze inhibitor. 240 for Amsoil. 32 only for the GP spec. We're going down. 5533. We're going to calcium now. Calcium is a detergent dispersant additive. As we can see, there's a ginormous difference. We got 1832 versus Amsoil 3461. So it has a lot of calcium in it. Magnesium 718. Again, I'm not going to call that as a better or worse. It's just they're pretty close, but nothing really substantial. I would call 70 and above or 50 and above a little bore. But next additive would be phosphorus, 1840 versus 1115 parts per million on phosphorus, and phosphorus again is an anti-wear additive, another plus. And zinc 925 on the Yamalube GP versus 1211 on Amsoils. So yeah, pretty much it's loaded. Amsoil is loaded with good stuff in it. A lot of good stuff. Alright, so temperature, we got 72.5 versus 73.4. Over here, viscosity at 100 degrees Celsius, 13.61 versus 13.84. Flash points. Now GP and high performance have a lot higher, like at least high performance is 445, GP is 455, and Amsoil is 430. So it does have a little lower, but if you really think about it, which engine goes over 400 degrees Fahrenheit without melting out or screwing up on you? Because most engines are around 200 degrees. So again, this is for me it's a moot point. I mean, but again, the higher the number is, it should be better always. But we keep on going down, and we see here TBN doubled on Amsoil, or almost doubled completely. We got 10.1 as a TBN on Amsoil and 5.7 on Yamalube. 5.6 for the high performance full synthetic. So I think this is a done deal for what oil is going to go in my engine from now on. I know this is a per quart thing. It's not really a absolute every quart's going to have this much, but again, I'm looking at additive packages and what they put out, and I thoroughly shaked them. You guys saw the videos before I sent them out, all the good stuff. So I tried to shake every additive I could to be sort of centered out, so when I poured it in that sampling cup, we would get the most out of it. So that's what we got, and hopefully this helped you out a little bit, understanding oils a little better, how they differ in qualities, and how one manufacturer differs from another, and how much money they put into their oils. Or because you can see it here. I mean, there's big differences in additive packages. The more additives it has, I assume it's more money for the quart that they put in. So when they put it inside your engine oil, or you put it inside your engine, it's doing a really good job at protecting it. So hopefully this helped out a lot. And again, I vaguely write anything when I send them out, because I don't see the process on how they do it, and I believe these people do a really great job at their oil reports and everything, but I just like keeping my words general when I send stuff out, because it's just the way I do stuff. So, but yeah, hopefully this video helped you guys out, and you guys had a lot of fun looking at oil samples and oil reports. You guys have a great day.